Hello, this is Mr. Hop, and I wanted to go over a few things that I saw when looking at these drawings for the first 3 or 4 train parts, and I want to make sure you understand what we're looking for. So starting with this picture, you can see right here we have a problem in that we are dimensioning to something hidden. We're not real sure what this is. Also, keep in mind that when we do dimensions, it should be datum dimensions, so it should be everything referenced from one edge and everything measured from that edge. If you look at this one, you can see right here that we are squished right here along the bottom edge. Don't do this, this just looks terrible. And you can see that there's a lot going on here. You can't tell what's happening here. These should start from the smallest on the inside and ascend to the largest on the outside. You had room to spread out a little bit here. Also, you shouldn't be dimensioning radiuses this way. Do I see any other trouble here? No, we'll keep going. Again, we're dimensioning to hidden lines. In this one, we're overlapping the border here as well. Don't do that. Scoot your drawing in from the edge, and that would look much better. Another thing too, we had the right idea where we're measuring from the bottom to the top and then the bottom to the top of the cylinder. This should have also gone to the bottom, not in the middle. And then here we have a chain measurement. We're not going to use that, so be sure you're measuring from one edge and giving me all the dimensions that are available there. This drawing looks really good, and it's got just the very bare minimal dimensions here, but you can see that everything's referenced from this back all the way to the front, and the radius is identified, and that leader line is at an angle. When you look at this one, we should have pulled this value down below the train, and I know I said try to avoid that, but there are going to be some situations where you can't avoid putting the dimension between the part and the border. So that would have made more sense. You wouldn't have to cross as many lines here. And here we have the right idea. I'm not sure what this is dimensioning to here, this 1.75. Watch out for this. You don't want your numbers running on top of each other. Okay. But overall, this is how your datum dimensions should look, except for that 2.13 should be to the left a little more. I thought I was pretty clear about using uppercase letters for your part names from now on. This should be uppercase train, uppercase body, not lowercase. This should be uppercase, and this is a problem in the template. So whoever's this is, they need to go fix their template. Don't dimension these between the part and the border. That you had plenty of room on the other side to make that happen. Again, dimensions are on the wrong side. They shouldn't be between the part and the border. All 3 of these could have been put somewhere else. I like how the radius values are shown such that they are kind of organized easily from top to bottom. Problem here is the 0.25 measurement is to a hidden line, so don't dimension to hidden lines. When we look at this, we see mixed case names, we see dimensions between the part and the border, dimensions overlapping the border. The leader line is straight. Try to make those angled. Okay, be real careful. This is dimensioned to the fillet instead of the edge, and that's going to result in errors in measurement. So make sure you're using the datum structure where you start from the very back or the very front and reference all your measurements from that point. And this seems like a little bit excessive, this radius line here, kind of long. Watch out for things like this where you're overlapping. We've got a lot going on here, and it's kind of randomly put in there. It looks like on the left, the other left, on the right side here, they have the right idea for these measurements. I don't know what happened here. We've got a lot of, it's hard to navigate what's going on here. This is a shaded value with no, or shaded drawing with no measurements. That's not what we asked for. Again, try to avoid putting these measurements between the parts and the borders here and here. Again, one measurement, so we don't know the length of this part, and it's between the part and the border. Sometimes you have to do that with the radius, or if you're measuring to a center line, but in this case there was room on the other side. Do you see the problem here? It should be all uppercase. Don't dimension inside parts. That should be on the outside. It gets really confusing if you're putting dimensions on the inside of your parts. And again, here we're dimensioning from the edge of the fillet. It should be from the front. Use the datum structure. All these gaps are going to cause errors in your machining if you were to turn this in for someone to build. Again, these are in the wrong place. Watch your case. This is not a drawing, this is a part. This one looks pretty good with the exception of a dimension to a hidden line, so don't do that. But everything else here looks really nice. You've got the datum structure, and you can see how, well, right here, dimensioning to the fillet, but right here at the front of the train, looks really good. When you look at this, we shouldn't be dimensioning to the isometric, shouldn't be dimensioning hidden lines inside the parts, shouldn't be dimensioning between the part and the border, especially if it's this close. It should be uppercase here, and if you look at this, you can tell that it is not properly constructed. It's too tall. Do you see a problem here? The instruction said specifically not to fillet holes, and this has filleted holes. So someone needs to fix that. This is the wrong drawing template, and there's no dimensions, so that's not good. Really busy, a lot of dimensions that could have gone somewhere else, and it's between the part and the border. This looks like a drawing template error that needs to be resolved. Another drawing template error. This one is beautiful. Look at that. This would be a case where it's okay to dimension between the part and the border because you really can't put that anywhere else, and it makes sense. And then right here you see the nice datum strategy, measuring all from the bottom to the top. Really condensed in here. It's hard to tell what's going on. You've got some measurements that may or may not be helpful. Again, this is really busy, and right here in this area you've got a lot of measurements that are overlapping each other. Really narrow measurements on the outside that have to cross these other dimensions. Be careful about that. Don't measure inside your part, don't dimension there. This one looks pretty reasonable except for this dimensioning to the hidden line for the hole in the top of the train. Looks pretty good except for overlap here. The radius should have been pulled up and out so that it didn't overlap these lines here. Squeezing the part next to the edge. If you're going to do this, you need to give some space. Also, we have some overlap here. It's hard to tell what's being measured. We have some datum here. This is okay that they're pulling down. It's interesting that these have different dimensions. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Lowercase, watch your case. No dimensions on this drawing. Someone needs to update their inventor settings. You should have your name here. It should be pulling that automatically, not your school ID number. And this is lowercase. This is not the front of the train. That's the back of the train. And this is one of the better looking drawings. You can see we're using datum. These extensions that go out between are all describing radius, and it makes sense to put there. So this is one of the better drawings that we had submitted. Only thing that's missing is we can't tell how wide these parts are. but very tidy otherwise. And I'll stop right there. That's just for the train.